Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video where today we'll be doing another video on Blade. Obviously, he's the mascot of this channel, my favorite character, but I've seen a lot of videos cropping around recently. Does Blade need buffs? Is Blade bad? Did Blade fall off? His places on tier lists vary. People say different things about him, so, I just kind of wanted to do a video talking about my thoughts on Blade, running him through Memory of Chaos, and then also for any of you interested in potentially playing him, what teams you should run, light cones, obviously everything F2P friendly. So yeah, first of all, let's just go into Memory of Chaos, and we will be doing the previous Memory of Chaos as opposed to the newest one. We will be running Blade on the first half because he is actually very good against Yanqing. Also running him with Bronya, one of his best supports, Pela for the Death Shred, and the luocha for the amazing heals. And then on the second half, we will just be doing an acheron team with our brand new aventurine. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, if I'm being completely honest, I actually haven't played a Blade team in a while in Memory of Chaos. So, call me a fake Blade main if you want, but, it's nothing complicated. I'd say Blade's actually I actually think Blade's the easiest character in the entire game to play, if I'm being honest. Like, especially this team, it's very simple. Now, obviously, our luocha will put his field up, and then we just normal attack, skill points, basically. We are going to do just one skill to get rid of his drain, and so that we can get the Death Shred up straight away. And now, literally, we just do damage. Let's see how much our Blade is dealing right now. 47k unbuffed, and then we hit, let's see, 55k buffed now. Follow-up attack should do big damage, yeah, 100k on the follow-up attack, because if you don't know, Blade's main damage source is the follow-up attack, even though, people would normally expect it to be like the burst or something, which is what I expected when I first started playing Blade, but turns out, no. It would be nice here if we could get our Bronya's ult, and it's unfortunate. Well, let's see how much we hit on our ult. Obviously, since it will also lower our HP, it will give us also a nice stack, and the luocha will even auto-heal us. We do only have 57k on the ult, like I said. It's a follow-up attack, which is the main source of damage, but yeah, just trying to make sure here that we hit these guys evenly. And now we're also going to get the crit damage buff from Bronya ult, as well as the damage boost from Bronya, and we have 52k there, so, it's very much respectable damage. The thing is, Blade can be played as either a main DPS in this sort of team, or as more of a sub-DPS. I used to run him as a sub-DPS with Jingliu, but now I rather run him as a main DPS ever since getting Bronya. The main thing is, running Blade as a hyper carry kind of relies on the units you have, but you can actually do it with basically one good harmony unit is what you need. Pela obviously is a very free-to-play friendly character, and then you can run any decent abundance character. Obviously you want to run abundance, not preservation, because you do want Blade to get hit and take damage for his stacks. But yeah, before, when I didn't have Bronya, and I also don't have Rowan May or Sparkle, so, I couldn't really run a good Blade hyper carry team because he doesn't get buffed off attack. Instead, it's a damage bonus, which he gets more benefit from, which obviously our Bronya does give. Also, we are able to ult here whilst buffed up, and this is also going to take away a lot of our HP, so this should be a big ult here, I would guess. 61k, yeah, it's decent, nothing special. These guys should die to dots. But yeah, anyway, as I was saying, you are kind of reliant on having a good harmony unit if you want to run Blade as a hyper carry. I personally think Bronya is the best. She is my favorite to run with him, but Sparkle and Rowan May are also very good because Rowan May will give you a lot of damage bonus amongst other buffs. And you can also probably make sure you get more HP substats instead of speed substats, which goes a great way for survivability and damage. And then Sparkle, obviously, you get the action forward and damage and crit damage. But I think Bronya has, she's just the simplest to run with Blade. She's a very good support, very, tested. Everyone knows how good she is. And we hit 123k on our follow-up attack there, which is nice, very useful for breaking Yanqing's blades. Now, the reason why Blade is actually so good in this MOC is because, first of all, Yanqing, wind weakness. The two enemies beforehand, wind weakness. Obviously we don't have lightning here, but we can just out DPS the blades anyway. And we actually have a lot of cycles here. Obviously we want to clear this in 25 so that we have an even amount for the first half and the second half. That is sort of just the baseline for how good a character is, whether they can clear in 5 cycles basically. And I think we will be able to, since we have a lot spare here. And honestly, I just love playing Blade because honestly his survival, he might get himself down to half HP, but like him at half HP is like a lot of units at full HP, and then obviously there are a lot of healing effects you can get, like from luocha and his own self heals as well, which are just obviously very convenient. I would say luocha is probably my favorite healer to run with him. Oh, that's annoying, but luckily we can unfreeze him with bronya and forward his action forward. But yeah, as I was saying, this team is just very simple and nice to play. I just really enjoy this team a lot. Also, he is pretty F2P friendly with his icons. He literally his second best option is sometimes his best option is a fully F2P icon, not counting any 5-stars. And then, there's also many other units as 5-star icons which you can use. His own, obviously, Jingliu's is also another good one. But yeah, Blade's just really fun to play. I mean, we only hit 37k there on the ult. It didn't crit, which is a bit unfortunate. I actually think we would have done pretty big damage there if it had crit, but, it's unfortunate. And as you can see, I mean, we're doing pretty well for ourselves here. I know the 25th cycle is coming up, but I think we're going to be able to clear it in time since we are about to get quite a few buffs up. I mean, our talent obviously has just gone. But yeah, I'd say in certain situations, Blade is actually very strong in the game. He is one of my favorite units to play, as I'm sure I've said a lot. And, he's kind of smoking action here, just like he did in the story. So, I mean, first of all, Blade is a very visually appealing character, obviously. That's why I put him in the first place, and kind of he's the reason why I really started playing this game and why I fell in love with it. I've told the story before. What made me interested in Star Rail was when I first saw Dun Hung from the CBT. Just regular Dun Hung. I was like, oh, it's a cool... I was on the Hoya Fair or Hoya Lab website, and I was like, oh, who's this character? He looks pretty cool. And then I find out he's from Honkai Star Rail. I look into the game, and then I find out about Blade, and I'm like, I'm playing this game. I'm definitely playing this game when I first saw Blade. So, yeah, we should be able to basically win here since we have basically 3 turns on our Blade. We have just used our ult there, but we're gonna go with Blade and go again, and he's gonna, if he gets hit here, and then if he gets hit by any of the swords, there we go. Yeah, we have his talent and 2 basic attacks to go off. And actually, Yanqing's gonna die here when the Trotter dies. But yeah, as you can tell, this floor, very easy for our Blade. We cleared it pretty convincingly, I'd say. So yeah, that's it for our Blade, and it's onto our acheron now. Alright, and it's acheron time. Now, obviously, what's exciting me is this is my first time using aventurine in Memory of Chaos. I have not had the opportunity to use him yet, since my last MOC video was recorded before he released. But yeah, let's see how it goes. Now, starting off, they don't hit my aventurine, but hopefully the... oh, I forget what this lady's called, but she doesn't hit aventurine either. Now, obviously, the AoE attack does hit, but that's a bit unfortunate. But yeah, what we're going to do here is we're going to make sure to stack up the defense shred from both our Silver Wolf and from our Black Swan. And then basically just do big damage afterwards. Let's see how much our acheron does here. Hoping that we crit. Okay, 30k, 66k... and then I'm guessing probably around 180, 248k. Okay, I will take it. But yeah, as you can see, obviously, oh, this is actually another thing I want to say about Blade. People will often underrate Blade just because he doesn't have like a massive nuke in his kit like acheron does. Like, he's not gonna hit 400k unless you have him like properly cracked out with amazing supports. But he does a lot of decent hits. So like, he will auto for like 50k, then 50k bronya, 50k, do like 100 to 120, probably like, I'd say probably like 90 to 110k in 2 turns, and then plus ultimate plus follow-up attack. His damage does go very underrated, I think, in my opinion. Honestly, in my opinion, Blade is just such an underrated character in this game. I feel like he deserves way more love than he gets, but it is what it is, unfortunately. Now, again, just going back to the acheron team, once again, hoping to do a little bit more damage here. I can't lie, I actually do want to save Aventurine's ult here for once this guy goes down, and we can get the debuff on the other one, so that she takes more crit damage. Or maybe I could save it. Actually, it's not worth saving, is it? Might as well just get the extra debuff and have her take more crit damage, because why not? Now, since our Aventurine is on... let's say, an interesting build. He's on an unconventional build. He doesn't do much damage, you know. He has basically no crit damage. He has like 5 extra crit damage above the base, but yeah, that's the state we're looking at right now. Actually, to be fair, I really do not need the skill there, but I mean, we have 4 skill points anyway, and basically just do the same thing we did at the start of the last rotation. Now, again, if this was a situation where both enemies have wind weakness, Blade would be incredibly strong here. If there is only one enemy and they don't have wind weakness, running him with Silverwolf is still good. But then if you have 2 enemies, neither of them have wind weakness, like in the current Memory of Chaos in the first half, then, you know, it's a bit more problematic. And then also Aventurine, who obviously is the boss in the second half, is just a very annoying enemy to fight in my experience. But anyway, enough babbling there. Let's see how much damage we can do here. We have 4479 and 200k. You know, decent damage, not amazing there. I feel like we could have hit more, but we also don't have Silverwolf's big defense shred from her ult. So, okay, we are taking a little bit of damage on our acheron there. We just need them to not target acheron, otherwise that would be quite rude of them. Luckily he hit Silverwolf, and Silverwolf also gets her ult here. Now the great thing is, first of all, ult, defense shred, and weakness break. Then we can use our basic there, and we can skill here just for our acheron to make sure she doesn't die. We'll also give him a bit of extra energy, which is always nice. I believe we already have the defense. Yeah, we definitely already have the defense shred on Sam for our skill because that lost 3 turns. And that's a really good thing about this team. You have Silverwolf and Black Swan who can both debuff on basic, and then obviously Aventurine whenever he gets hit. Although they're really targeting acheron a lot. Why are they not targeting Aventurine? This is actually really annoying me right now. Like, can you please just hit Aventurine? Now, once again, we are going to use his ult here so that Sam takes extra crit damage. And let's see how much we do on our acheron. Obviously, the thing is, if we were to wait for Sam's turn, he would take more damage from the vulnerability. And we hit 211k there. Once again, I still feel like we could be hitting more. But yeah, I didn't want to wait too long. And okay, we need our acheron not to die here, preferably. Okay, luckily, Aventurine's skill will auto-trigger here. Now, once again, this is just the great thing about Aventurine. You can run him, like, entirely skill point positive, basically. Like, I've used this skill once. You only need to basically use it in emergency situations. He can top up himself most of the time, so yeah, honestly, he is just very fun and easy to play, if you ask me. See, who just doesn't love playing acheron? Like, I actually think acheron and Blade might be my 2 favorite characters to play. We do a 286k there. I have seen us hit, like, more before, but, you know, I will take 286k. But, yeah, like I said, I'd say probably acheron and Blade are probably my 2 favorite characters to play. Obviously, I do like Jingliu as well and Dunhung, but I feel like these two... Oh, also, Dr. Ratio is really fun when you can just chain follow-up attacks together. If I had a Topaz, I would definitely be running a Topaz, Aventurine, Dr. Ratio team, but I didn't pull for Topaz, and if I'm being honest, I don't really plan to. Like, she's alright and all. Like, obviously she's a good unit, she would actually be good for my account, but there's other characters I prefer to pull, let's put it that way. You know, like, I'd prefer a Bootail, I'd prefer a Sunday, I'd prefer a Wanmei, I'd prefer a Sparkle. That's my outlook on it, unless the next act of the main quest changes that, but yeah, let's see now. Sam is on 12% HP. Let's see how much our acheron does. 35k, 88k. It's slightly less than we've done before, but we had 265k there, and Sam is dead. So, yeah, there we go. We managed to clear. Both sides cleared in 5 cycles. Not even at the end of 5 cycles, so I'd say this was, like, not the most comfortable clear, but, you know, a fairly decent clear. Obviously, F2P investment, both characters could have their builds improved upon. And talking about builds, let's move on to the character builds and any closing thoughts I have on Blade. Anyway, that's it for the run. When it comes to my thoughts on Blade's current spot in the meta, I would say he is slightly underrated. Obviously, he is better when in, like, certain scenarios. Obviously, wind weakness is one, but also in scenarios where you have a mixture of trash mobs and a boss. Just because, you know, a lot of his damage does come from his follow-up attack, which is very good in AoE situations. And his attacks are blast attacks as well, which means he is very strong in, you know, multiple target situations, but not necessarily pure fiction. but and his numbers aren't, he's not the best against bosses. You would probably rather a Hung character, but he is still very serviceable as bosses, as you could see against Yanqing, where he actually did really well. Now, I will say, obviously there are characters above him in meta, like Dunhang, Jingliu, and like Acheron, obviously. But the thing is, people will say that Blade relies on certain enemies. However, at the same time, kind of most units in the game do, other than Acheron. Like, for example, if you saw my last attempt, or my last Memory of Chaos video, and my attempt to run it blind and bringing Jingliu against, like, ice-resistant enemies and Cocolia, then you know you can really struggle if you bring the wrong enemies to the wrong half in Memory of Chaos. So I don't think that should take away from Blade's pull value. So yeah, I feel like if you want to use Blade, you can. You can also run him as a very good sub DPS, especially in Jingliu teams. The best team I used to run was Jingliu, Blade, Pela, and Bailu. But then obviously I got Bronya, and I prefer running Jingliu or Blade as a hyper carry rather than playing the two of them together. But let's move on to our character build, starting off with Blade, obviously the MVP of the show. Now, my Blade actually doesn't have that much HP. He is on 5.2k because I build him crit damage instead of HP, and obviously 4-star Lycon, which doesn't give us any HP, which is why he is only on 5.2k. Also, my substats don't give much HP either. When it comes to speed, he is on 136, and that is important because that is a bit more than our Bronya, who's on 134, which means we can go Blade, Bronya, Blade. And since Blade does not do anything which affects his action value, it is very consistent, which is why I think Blade's actually very easy to play. If you want a very simple character to play, Blade will definitely get the job done. He is on 54 crate, but at the same time, his signature artifact set will give him 16 basically, and this is basically permanent uptime, so he is on 70 crate with 163 crit damage. When it comes to our Lightcon, we do have him on a Secret Vow. It is only S1. What I will say is at S1 versus S5, this Lightcon can be better than a Secret Vow, but once you get to like S3, then even S2, like S2, they're basically the same, and at S3, S4, and S5, I would say a Secret Vow does probably outperform the Flames of Fire Lycon. But if you don't have any copies of a Secret Vow, or you already have this one leveled up, then I would go for this one because it is a very reliable Lycon, which you can easily get S5 because it is very free to play friendly. You can get from the store in Memory of Chaos. His traces are fully maxed out, and then he is, you know, just sort of built as you would expect, making sure he has enough speed for our Bronya, and just making sure all the main stats are right so that we have a fairly even crit ratio as well. And then obviously he is E0. So yeah, it's not the best Blade build you can see, which, you know, it's I'd say it's a decent investment. It's not bad, it's not great. Obviously, any Lightcons would be better for him. For example, his signature Lightcon will be a big upgrade. Jingliu's Lightcon is actually also very strong on him. Obviously, the Hertosaur one isn't that good because that gives attack instead of HP. So, yeah, that's it for our Blade. When it comes to our Bronya, 201 crit damage, just making sure she's just below in speed with him. She is on her signature Lycon, which does help buff up our Blade, although there are many other ones you can use on her, including the one which gives you damage for characters with the same element. And I also have her on Broken Keel, but you can run Penacony instead for a similar buff to that. Talent and ult are maxed out, which are the most important parts. Built on speed and HP just to make sure she can survive. And then she is E0 when it comes to our Pela. 140 speed just to make sure she's fast enough. Main thing is she's on this Lycon so that we can do a 2-turn ult on her. So basically have her ult up all the time. And then talents, you know, just talent leveled up for the energy and ultimate leveled up for the defense shred. Again, HP and speed and Broken Keel for crit damage for Blade, survivability for Pela and speed. And she is E6, although her items don't matter that much in the Blade team. And then Luocha, obviously, you can use Hua or you can use Bailu, although Luocha is the most SP positive, and when you have a Blade above 134 speed and Bronya, then, you know, you will be consuming a bit more skill points than you would normally, although Blade doesn't use very many skill points, which is why you can run them as a very good sub DPS, and why you can skill all the time on Bronya with basically no skill point issues. So basically you never need to skill on Luocha and Pela, and you only skill on him once every 3 turns, and Bronya can skill all the time. So, you know, it really maximizes the potential of the team, although Hua can give you a bit more energy and damage if you run her on the Penacony set, and then Bailu is just a good healer, although you can also run someone like Galaga, for example, or Lynx. Just they are obviously 4-star healers and, you know, not amazing, but still good enough. And now when it comes to our Acheron build. Acheron is on 49 crit, but this does go up to 62 when you include the plus 12 from having nihility characters. 175 crit damage, actually more speed than you would expect, but she's not on speed boots, just so that we can run her on attack. S1 Good Night Sleep Well, because I don't have any other copies. Talents 10 and 10 on the talent and alt, since that's what matters most, and then 8 on the skill. Basic is unleveled. On the artifacts that you would expect, so build as you would expect on the new planar ornament set. E0, obviously. Now, our brand new aventurine is on a bit of a funky build, 137 speed, just for the more SP generation, and he can shield if we need him to. But the main thing here is we have him on 57 core rate, plus the trend of the universal marker icon, so basically whenever they hit him, they will be inflicted with a DOT, which will give us a stack towards our acheron. And he is on 3.7k defense. You can obviously get a lot more if you have just different light cone, and if you have more defense substats than you have EHR substats, but this is a very acheron specific build. And then, yeah, like I said, quite a bit of effect hit rate on his pieces. Aventurine is just really good for survivability. Basically did not have the skill on him whatsoever other than in fear of big damage. But yeah, that's our Aventurine. Then just our Black Swan, 156 speed, you know, making sure she has enough EHR, built as you'd expect, and is E0, obviously. And then our Silver Wolf, also E0, 134 speed, just to make sure she can go as much as she can. Her HP and Black Swan's actually is relatively low, but since we are running with a shielder, it doesn't really matter. Whereas the Blade team has a lot of HP because, you know, 5.2k, 4.6k, and 5.1k, which is why he does better on that team, but you would rather a shielder on this team, and having preservation synergizes nicely with this icon. And then, yeah, Trace is maxed out, quantum speed, and E0. So yeah, those are our character builds and my thoughts on Blade. So if you want to go for a Blade build, then, you know, why not go for it? I think he's a very fun character, very F2P friendly character, and yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and hopefully I will see you guys next time.